This evening, first, deadly collisions. 2 motorcycle accidents in a single day leave one man dead and another hospitalized. What investigators are saying about these tragic incidents, plus historic progress. Ghana records a 33% drop in domestic violence-related homicides. How new initiatives and a landmark law are making a difference. Also building the future. Construction resumes on the Demerara Bridge after clearing legal hurdles. Updates on this transformative project and what's next. And bridging Linden. The McKenzie Bridge project hits 31% completion. A look at the government's broader infrastructure push in Region 10. Finally, securing homes. Plans to regularize informal settlements promise new hope for hundreds of families across Guyana. Details on the government's ambitious housing agenda. Stay tuned for these stories and more coming up next on Headline News Update. Happy New Year and welcome to this broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Update for January 6, 2024. I am Bibi Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. We begin our first newscast of the year with tragic news. 2 motorcycle accidents, including 1 fatality, so early in 2025, highlight the persistent dangers on the roads and the importance of caution. More from Malcolm Carter.
2 serious motorcycle accidents occurred on Sunday, January 5, 2025, highlighting the ongoing dangers faced by motorcyclists on Guyana's roads. In the first incident, Mark Kendall Simon, a 32-year-old laborer from Cottonfield, Essequibo Coast, was hospitalized after a collision with a utility pole on the Land of Plenty public road around 1:15 a.m. Police investigations revealed that Simon was allegedly speeding when he lost control of his motorcycle CP115 and crashed into a GPL utility pole on the western side of the road. He was found unconscious by anti-crime patrol ranks and transported to Sully Public Hospital, where he was treated for head injuries, a fractured rib and a broken hip. Simon remains hospitalized as police continue their investigation, with the motorcycle logged at Anna Regina police station for further examination. Later that day, a fatal accident claimed the life of a 55-year-old security officer, Brian Paul McKenzie of Corverton, Berbice. Reports are that around 2:15 p.m., McKenzie was speeding westbound on Houston Public Road near Rahams Park without wearing a helmet. He lost control of his motorcycle CH8290 while negotiating the turn, colliding with a guard rail and being flung into a lamppost. McKenzie suffered fatal injuries and was pronounced dead at the scene by EMTs. His body is at the Memorial Gardens Funeral Home awaiting post-mortem examination. These incidents serve as sobering reminders of the importance of road safety, including wearing helmets and adhering to speed limits. Investigations into both accidents are ongoing. Reporting for Headline News Update, Malcolm Carter.
Thanks, Malcolm. A 27-year-old Mason, Deepak Bacchus, has been remanded to prison following the death of his older brother, 41-year-old Kieran Bacchus, after a New Year's Day altercation at their mother's home in Cottonfield, West Coast, Berbice. Deepak Bacchus appeared virtually at the Blairmont Magistrates Court earlier today. He appeared before Magistrate Ravindra Mahabir, where he was charged with manslaughter and remanded to prison until his next court appearance on January 27, 2025. The incident reportedly stemmed from a dispute over Deepak denying entry to Kieran's wife into their mother's yard at Cottonfield, West Coast, Berbice. The confrontation escalated to a physical fight, during which Kieran fell, sustaining head injuries that led to severe bleeding and left him semi-conscious. He was rushed to the New Amsterdam Public Hospital but was pronounced dead on arrival. A post-mortem examination revealed his cause of death as asphyxia due to aspirated gastric content and blood in the airway. The body was subsequently released to the family for burial. Investigations into the tragic incident are ongoing. On a different note, Ghana has recorded a significant 33% reduction in domestic violence-related homicides in 2024. This was announced by the Minister of Human Services and Social Security, Dr. Vindya Prasad, during the ministry's end-of-year press conference last Thursday.
This year, for the first time, we saw a decrease in the murders related to domestic violence by 33%. And it speaks to a lot of the work we're doing, which includes our 914 hotline, 293 calls of the 14,000 calls that came in related directly to domestic violence cases or gender-based violence cases. Over 300 of those calls, in addition, were directly related to child protection or child abuse cases. And it is not just the calls, it's the level of intervention that happens.
Minister Prasad attributed this to new initiatives and investments aimed at addressing gender-based violence. The government allocated $150 million at the start of the year to tackle sexual offenses and domestic violence, enabling the Ministry of Human Services and Social Security to implement various measures. These included the expansion of the Sexual Offenses and Domestic Violence Unit, which supported approximately 1,500 individuals, and the establishment of the Hope and Justice Center, offering counseling, legal aid, and other essential services.
For the first time, Guyana has a one-stop model, the Hope and Justice Centers, a collaboration between this ministry and the Ministry of Legal Affairs, supported by the IDB Support for Criminal Justice Program. But what the program does within that structure that was supported by the IDB came out of the Spotlight Initiative. And so we have two centers, one, the most recent in Virgin Eugene Region 3, that's the bigger center, and the second in Lusignan, which has been up and running for some time. So when someone goes there, they can access anything from social and economic social support, counseling, legal support. They can make their police report right there, get their medical report done right there. And I think that alleviates the pressure that when someone experiences violence, where they have to go, how they have to get things done. And
Dr. Prasad also lauded the enactment of the Family Violence Act of 2024, which provides comprehensive protection against various forms of family violence, including sexual and verbal abuse. Passed in August of 2024, the Act aims to safeguard all family members from harm. While celebrating the progress, Dr. Prasad emphasized the need for sustained efforts to further reduce domestic violence in the country. Stick around when we return. Government to regularize informal settlements nationwide in 2025, and construction resumes on the Demerara Bridge following court ruling.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Furnishing your home or office has never been easier. Here at Kissoon's, our inventory of locally made and imported furniture, offered at amazing prices, will leave you wanting more. From vinyl, floor rugs and carpets, bedroom, dining and living room sets, mattresses, pillows, office desk, chairs and filing cabinets, outdoor benches and tables. We have a piece of furniture for every room imaginable in your home or office. Check out our flagship store at Industrial Site Rijnveld or one of our branches in New Amsterdam, Port Morant, Riverton and Camp Street. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 50 years.
Sneakily with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Our smiles make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services, 316 Mill Street, Georgetown, telephone 226-1082.
Welcome back. Construction on the long-awaited Demerara Harbour Bridge has resumed after a court ruling cleared legal hurdles related to personal property disputes. The government successfully resolved the matter by compensating affected property owners with all payments completed by December 19, 2024. Demolition of structures in the bridge's path began soon after, and all residents were relocated by December 31st. The remaining houses will be cleared by January 8, 2025, allowing contractors to proceed with unhindered construction. During a site visit, Minister of Public Works Bishop One Edgehill thanked the judiciary and residents for their cooperation. He reaffirmed the government's commitment to completing the US $260 million toll-free bridge, which will feature 4 lanes of vehicular traffic. Despite earlier delays, 78% of the bridge has been completed, including 62% of the bridge. Out of 472 required girdles, 121 have been manufactured, with installation progressing on both banks of the Demerara River. The bridge, a key infrastructure initiative, promises to enhance connectivity and significantly alleviate traffic congestion. In other news, the construction of the US $35 million McKenzie Bridge in Linden, Region 10, has reached 31% completion, with significant advancement projected by the end of 2025. During a site visit on Sunday, President Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali reviewed progress on the 4-lane, 220 meters long precast concrete bridge, which features lighting, sidewalks, and other safety enhancements. The project, managed by China Railway Construction Corporation Limited, began on April 8, 2024 and is slated for completion by April 7, 2026. A temporary trestle bridge is operational, ensuring uninterrupted transportation and access for emergency vehicles. Preparations for the girder fabrication yard are set to begin in March, and materials for the pile foundation are expected to arrive by January 20th. Addressing residents, President Ali highlighted the government's commitment to infrastructure development in Linden, including billions invested in various transformative projects. In addition to the bridge, the president toured the McKenzie Sports Club ground, where upgrades were on the way to create a modern sports facility with new stadium lighting, spectator stands, and athlete pavilions. Moving on, the government has announced plans to regularize several informal settlements across the country in 2025, granting legal ownership of lands to hundreds of residents. During a press conference on Friday, Minister of Housing and Water Colin Crowell highlighted that multiple regions would benefit, with over 700 lots in Region 4 and significant allocations in Regions 2, 3, 6, and 10. In 2024, the government allocated 583 informal lots and regularized 6 squatting areas, bringing the total to 1,571 housing lots in the past 3.5 years. Minister Crowell noted that the initiative will ensure improved living standards by providing residents access to basic necessities, including water, electricity, and sanitation. Over 430 families have been relocated to better living conditions as part of these efforts. The minister noted that this year's regularization plan is the government's continued commitment to addressing housing challenges and enhancing the quality of life for its citizens. Don't go away after the break. Hong Kong Housing City plans to eliminate infamous coffin homes, and Venezuela offers reward for candidates' arrest.
Furnishing your home or office has never been easier. Here at Kissoon's, our inventory of locally made and imported furniture, offered at amazing prices, will leave you wanting more. From vinyl, floor rugs and carpets, bedroom, dining and living room sets, mattresses, pillows, office desk, chairs and filing cabinets, outdoor benches and tables. We have a piece of furniture for every room imaginable in your home or office. Check out our flagship store at Industrial Site Rijnveld or one of our branches in New Amsterdam, Port Morant, Riverton and Camp Street. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 50 years.
Sneakily with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Common Smalls make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Services. 316 Middle Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road, Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lenders, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at what's happening in the region and around the world.
Good evening, I'm Malcolm Carter and welcome to our regional and international news segment, here to keep you informed and up to date with the trending news stories from around the world. First up in the Caribbean, following the declaration of a state emergency due to a spike in violent crimes, Trinidad and Tobago has seen a reduction in reported crimes, with only 3 murders in the past week compared to 9 in the same period last year. The state of emergency declared to curb gang violence led to significant law enforcement activities, including the arrest of 46 people and the seizure of firearms, ammunition, and drugs. Authorities assured citizens that the state of emergency target gangs, not law-abiding citizens. The government emphasized that this move was a last resort to restore order and combat gang killings. In South America, Venezuela's government has announced a $100,000 reward for the arrest of exiled opposition presidential candidate Edmundo Gonzalez, accused of conspiracy and forgery. Gonzalez, granted asylum in Spain after fleeing in September, claims the July 2024 presidential election was rigged, asserting he won overwhelmingly based on opposition collected voting tallies. These tallies, at the center of the dispute, contrast with the government's declaration of President Nicolas Maduro as the winner. The UN Human Rights Committee has ordered Venezuela to preserve the voting tallies. Meanwhile, Gonzalez plans a Latin American tour, meeting critics of Maduro as political tension in Venezuela escalates. And speaking of which, Venezuela's exiled opposition leader Edmundo Gonzalez has begun a regional tour. His first stop is Argentina. He's drumming up support just days before Nicolas Maduro is sworn in for a 3rd term as president following July's disputed election. Al Jazeera's Teresa Bo reports.
A regional tour to raise international support ahead of Inauguration Day in Venezuela on January the 10th. Opposition leader Edmundo González Urrutia landed in Buenos Aires to meet Argentine President Javier Milei and to be greeted by thousands of Venezuelans living in the country. Maria Sarcos is one of them. She left Venezuela because of its economic crisis.
Feliz, emocionada.
I am very happy because even though we were not allowed to vote, Edmundo represents freedom for us, the end of a dictatorship.
Nicolás Maduro is due to be sworn in once again in less than a week for another 5-year term. The 75-year-old former diplomat Urrutia and the opposition say he was the real winner of the presidential elections in July. The government has failed to make the tally results public.
Today I feel geographically and emotionally closer to fulfilling the mandate that Venezuelans gave us in the elections last July.
Urrutia was forced to flee Venezuela in September. On Friday, the Venezuelan government put a $100,000 reward for information leading to his capture and displayed in La Guaira airport signs offering the reward. Urrutia's visit also comes as tensions are running high between Argentina and Venezuela over the detention of a member of the Argentine security forces who is being held in a prison outside Caracas.
All eyes are on what will happen on January 10th, on the inauguration of President Nicolás Maduro for a 3rd term in office. The opposition is calling for protests to denounce what they say was a fraudulent election. People here say they will do the same.
Nearly 180,000 Venezuelans live in Argentina. Most say they're desperate for change in their country. But Edmundo González Urrutia faces the challenge of having to consolidate international support. The international community is being cautious about supporting a parallel government after its experience with Juan Guaidó in 2019, who won popular support but failed to take power in Venezuela. For now, the only hope these people have is Edmundo González Urrutia. Teresa Bo, Al Jazeera, Buenos Aires.
Finally, Hong Kong, one of the most expensive places to live in the world. Over 200,000 of the city's poorest people live in cramped apartments, many smaller than a car parking space. Under instruction from Beijing, the city's leader is planning to introduce a new regulation to get rid of tiny dwellings by 2049. But tenants are worried that this will lead to a higher rent due to fewer homes. Al Jazeera's Laura Westbrook reports.
Hong Kong is one of the most affluent cities in the world, but beneath its shiny facade, people like Deng Mei Ling and her 15-year-old son Roy live in this tiny room with no window or air conditioning, paying $340 a month for 5.5 square meters. The city's leader, John Lee, wants to pass a new law ensuring spaces like this are at least 8 square meters, have a toilet and window.
I'm very worried because if my landlord asks me to leave, I won't be able to find a place with such low rent. I really can't afford it.
Around 33,000 of the smallest homes could be phased out. This flat has been divided into 4, with 6 people sharing a kitchen and bathroom, and is likely to be renovated. The government says it wants to target the smallest of subdivided flats, but tenants fear that may push up the price of rents, making the lives of people living here even worse. Beijing has urged the Hong Kong government to get rid of subdivided units and other tiny homes by 2049 because it regards the city's housing shortage as one of the causes of the 2019 anti-government protests.
If you want to completely eradicate these subdivided units, it's almost mission impossible because it's a market function. There's a need. So the way to respond to the Central People's Government's directive is to at least make sure that the quality of the accommodation is of reasonable standard.
The city's coffin and cage homes, where people's living space consists of a bunk bed, are also set to remain. Social workers say without protections and a resettlement policy, those affected would be forced to move to even cheaper accommodation like this, or even onto the streets.
We talked to the landlord or the principal tenants. They said they will raise the rent.
The government says it's stepping up building more public housing to deal with the shortage of affordable accommodation, with 50,000 units to come online by 2027. An independent housing research group says until there is the political will to overhaul the land and housing system to make the world's most unaffordable property market more affordable, people like Mei Ling and her son will be at the mercy of those who decide their fate from across the border. Laura Westbrook, Al Jazeera, Hong Kong.
Thanks, Malcolm. This brings us to the end of our regional and global news coverage. Up next is the 3-day wind forecast. And that's 52 headline news for this Monday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. You can tune in tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. for a rebroadcast and at 7 p.m. for more news. Until then, please take care of yourself and each other.